basically, guys, I said that if I need to define a row vector or a column vector, I can use space for row vectors or comma and semicolon for the column vector. There's also a lot of different ways. Let's clear all my variables and talk about other ways. What if I need to define A as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Is there another way to define this row vector? Yes. Basically, I know that all my elements here are equally spaced and they are incremented by 1. And this means that I can use a colon operator. What is a colon operator? A colon operator is used whenever I have an equal distance between elements. So this is the colon operator, and basically, in order to define the matrix or the array using a colon operator, you should specify the first element, then the increment, and then the last element, as you can see here. So it is 1, 1, 6, and this is A. Of course, there is a 6 here, all right? So let's increase the size of the command window. Now, you can do this without indicating the increment because the colon operator by default will take this increment as 1. So this is also A. What if B is 2, 4, 6? So B here, and let's do it as a column vector. How to do this B using a colon operator? First of all, guys, I know that B should be equal to 2, 2, 6 because it is starting by 2, incremented by 2, and the last element is 6. But what I should know, guys, that this B here will give me, this colon operator, if used, will give me a row vector. So let's see B. This is B. And I need to find, or I need to make B as a column vector. So what should I do is to make the transpose of B, and this is basically the transpose of B. So what I did here is to assign B the transpose of B. So as you know, guys, from the previous lectures, we said that I can use the assignment operator, and then I can do some modification on the left side for the same variable and put it on this variable on the right side. So this is what I'm doing here. B is equal to B prime means B is equal to its transpose, which is here a column vector. So basically the column operator is used whenever I know the increment. So let's say C is equal to 8, 6, 4, 2, 0. Now what do you think? What is C using the colon operator? So you can define C like this one, but I can also use the colon operator. So what is C? C is what? C is 8 with a decrement of -2 until 0. So this is C. Alright? So basically, guys, I can also decrement as long as the difference between these elements is the same, or as long as these elements are equally spaced, I can use the colon operator. Now, what if I ask you to find D as, let's say, 2, 2, 9? Before clicking on enter, can you expect the answer of D? So I'm saying that D is equal to 2, incremented by 2 until 9. So D should be 2, 4, 6, 8, and I should stop here because D cannot contain the element 10 because 10 is greater than 9. So I can use the colon operator even if the last element of this colon operator is not in this row vector, because in fact this last element means it is the maximum one. The elements inside D cannot be greater than 9. So basically D will stop at 8. Alright? Now the same goes for the decrement. You can try this. Now let's clear all my variables again. try the third option to define an array. Basically, so far we said that I can define any array explicitly, and this is by only indicating let's say 4, 5, 100, the elements. So this is A. So the first option is to define them explicitly. So I can define the array explicitly by indicating the elements, space, or I can put space between them, or I can put comma for a row vector or semicolon for a column vector. Now this is the first option. The second option basically is to use a colon operator, and the colon operator is used only if what? If the elements are equally spaced. So in this case, I can use the colon operator. Now, the third option, which is a very important option, is called Linspace. Linspace is also a built-in function inside Matlab. Now, what differs Linspace from the colon operator is that in the colon operator, you know the increment or the decrement. So you know the space between them, the difference between elements. In Linspace, you know their numbers. So you know the number of elements inside this array. Alright? So basically, if I take this example, let's say C is equal to Linspace. So Linspace is a built-in function defined in the library of Matlab. Whenever you want to indicate the input of Linspace, Matlab will help you by giving you the inputs. So here Matlab is saying that the inputs could be A, B, or ABN. Let's start by ABN. What is ABN? It is basically the first element. A is the first element, let's say it is 1. The second element, let's say it is 10. And N is the number of elements, which is, let's say, 5. So here, guys, I'm defining C as an array of 5 elements. The first element is 1 and the last element is 10. So as you can see, guys, C is defined as 5 elements, 1, 3.25, 5.5, 7.75, and 10. These elements starts by 1 and ends by 10. Now, guys, if I did not specify this 5, what do you think would be C? Basically, C is a row vector starting from 1, so this is the first element 1, ending by 10, this is the last element 10, and if you did not specify N by default, Matlab will take it as 100. Why to use Linspace? In fact, guys, if you have, let's say, a tube and there is a flow inside this tube and you need to find, let's say, the velocity for different points on this flow. So you need to discretize this tube and solve the conservation of mass or Navier-Stokes equation, and then you should to find the velocity for each node inside this tube. So basically you should divide this tube into, let's say, 100 nodes, and you need to find this velocity for each node. So then you can define the velocity vector as Linspace, so starting from the boundary condition at the inlet, ending by the boundary condition at the outlet, and you will indicate the number of nodes, which is, let's say here, 100. So Linspace is usually used in discretization, but it is a very important built-in function, so you should memorize the order of the inputs inside Linspace, A, B, and then N, and if I did not specify N, it will be 100.